Hello everyone, welcome to Vishesh Educational Videos. In this video, I am explaining about the limits that are supported in Unix operating system. Right? Limits means you can specify the conditions at the compile time and at the runtime. For example, you can limit the number of files that can open simultaneously. That can be opened simultaneously. So in the same way, you can put a limit on the amount of process that can be created simultaneously. You can put the limits. You can control. Right? You can control the things. So how you are going to do that? So I'm going to explain about that limits in this video. Right? If you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, and please don't forget to like the video, and please don't forget to share the video with your friends. And also, to get the notification of my new videos, please click the bell icon. So let me begin the explanation of limits. You can put in your Unix operating system. So limits checking at the compile time and a runtime. So POSIX.1 and POSIX.1b define a set of system configuration limits. Right? You can define some limits. POSIX supports that limits, and these limits are present in a limits.h header, and these limits are nothing but constants. Constant means the value of this limits can't be changed. So these limits are present in a limits.h header. Right? Now we will see what are the limits we can put on a particular system. For example, so these are the limits or the limit constants that are defined in a POSIX.1 standard. So for example, you can see there the POSIX child max. So what is this? What it does? So it defines the maximum number of child process that may be created at any one time by a process. So you can specify maximum number of child process that can be created at any one process. So what is the minimum value? Minimum 6. Minimum value is 6. Hope you understand. Next is what? POSIX open max. So for this, what is the open max? Maximum number of files that a process can open simultaneously. A process can open maximum number of files that are defined. So what is the minimum value? 16 is the minimum value. Hope you are understanding. So next, POSIX stream max. This is nothing but maximum number of IO streams. IO streams means input and output streams that is opened by a process. Right? What is the minimum value? Minimum, it can create 8 IO streams. 8 IO streams. 8 inputs and 8 outputs it can process. Right? Minimum value is 8. Hope you understand. Maximum number you can define. Maximum number of IO streams opened by a process. So here 8 is the minimum value. Hope you are understanding, guys. If you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section. Right? So these are the limits that can be used in a POSIX.1 converting system. Next, POSIX argmax. It is the continuation. So this is the maximum size in bytes of arguments that may be passed to an execute function. So it is the size of the argument. What is the size? 4096 bytes. This is the size of the argument that may be passed to the execute function. You know that. You can pass the argument to the function. You know that. Next, POSIX n group max. So minimum value is what? 0. It is nothing but maximum number of supplemental groups to which a process may belong So process can maybe belong to two or more groups, right? So you can specify that a process, right? You can specify that. So process, how many groups a process may belong, you can specify that, right? Next, POSIX path max. So what is the minimum value? 255. So it specifies the maximum number of characters allowed in the path name. So what is the minimum value? Minimum 255. Minimum value is the 255 characters can be there in the path name. Hope you are understanding. Next, POSIX name max 14. Minimum number of characters allowed in a file name. So if you want to create a file name, you can minimum number of characters you can use is 14. Minimum 14 is allowed. Hope you are understanding. Next, POSIX link max. Maximum number of links a file may have. Minimum value, what is the minimum number of links a file may have is 8. File can have links. Links are nothing but right, when I explain the hyperlinks in the upcoming videos, you will understand what is actual link. So far you should understand that a file can have links. So what is the maximum number of links we can, what is the minimum number of links we can have here? 8. The same way, POSIX pipe buffer. So in the upcoming videos I am going to explain about the techniques like message passing techniques, pipes, right? So here pipe buffer means what? Maximum size of block of data that may be atomically read from or written to a pipe. So what is the size here? Minimum size is 512, right? 512 bytes of data that may be read to a pipe or read from a pipe or written to a pipe. Hope you are understanding. Next is POSIX maximum input. So 255, minimum value is 255. Maximum capacity of a terminal input queue. How many number of inputs that are supported in a queue? Queue, why I need a queue means a process can send inputs continuously to a queue, right? So what is the minimum? 255 inputs. Minimum 255 inputs can be there in a input queue. Hope you are understanding, guys. Next, POSIX maximum canonical input, right? So this is going to define the minimum 255 canonical inputs can be there in the queue. Next, POSIX S size max. So what is the minimum size here? So minimum value is 32,767. So this POSIX S size max is going to tell about the maximum value that can be stored in a S size T typed object, right? I will explain about this in the upcoming videos about this S size, all those things. So far you should understand that about the limits. What are the limits? What is the minimum and maximum, right, values that can be supported, right? Lastly, POSIX TZ name max. Maximum, that is nothing but maximum number of characters in a time zone name. Minimum 3, obviously 3 characters minimum you have to use. So if maximum, right, it is going to tell about the maximum number of characters in a time zone name. Time zone, Indian Standard Time Zone or Greenwich Standard Time Zone, any time zone you have. So minimum you should have 3 characters. Hope you are understanding, guys. Next, this is a limits that is used by POSIX.1b standard. Earlier it's for POSIX.1, here it's for POSIX.1b. So these are the constants. So you can see POSIX AIO max. So what is the minimum value? 1. So what it tells? So number of simultaneous asynchronous IOs. Asynchronous IOs means, you know that. So synchronous means you can take the input from different right, streams. Synchronous means there will be a proper timing interval between the input outputs. Asynchronous means no timing intervals, proper timing intervals. Timing intervals may vary, right? So what is the minimum value? Minimum value 1. Next, POSIX asynchronous IO, AIO, list IO max. What is that? That is maximum number of operation in one list IO. It is going to tell about the operations, what you are going to do. So what is the minimum value? Minimum value is 2. Minimum 2 operations can be there in one list IO. I will explain what is this list IO. List IO means the IOs can be stored in a list. Input output operations can be stored in a list, right? That is, so how many operations you can store, right? So it is going to tell about minimum two operations are supported. Hope you are understanding, in a list IO. Next, POSIX timer max. So it is going to tell about maximum number of timers that can be used simultaneously by a process. So timers, you know, the timers are used to fix a particular range for a time. For example, from 1 minute to 10 minutes, for 20 minutes to 30 minutes, like that. You can fix a time by using a timers. You can fix a range, right? So it is going to tell about the maximum number of timers that can be used simultaneously by a process. Minimum value is what? 32. Minimum you can use 32 timers. Minimum you can use 32. Hope you are understanding, guys. Next, POSIX delay timer. Delay, you know that you can put a delay in delays between some operations, right? So this is going to tell about the maximum number of overruns allowed per timer, right? So minimum value is what? 32. Hope you are understanding. Next, POSIX MQ open max. It is going to tell about the maximum number of message queues that may be accessed simultaneously per process. I will explain about the message queues in detail in the upcoming videos. So far you should know that about the limits. So minimum 2 message queues that may be accessed simultaneously by a process. So minimum value is 2. Simultaneously process can access different message queues. Next, POSIX message queue prio max. That is about the priorities. Maximum number of message priorities that can be assigned to messages. If you have 10 messages, I can assign 2 messages a most important priority. Priority tells about the importance. Not all the 10 messages are important to me. According to that, for example, priority can range from 1 to 10. If a message has a priority 1 means that is having the highest priority, like that. So maximum number of message priorities that can be assigned to the messages. What is the minimum value here? 2. 2 is the minimum value. Hope you are understanding, guys. Next, POSIX RTSIG max. That is maximum number of real time signals. So signals, a process can send a signals, right? So minimum value is what? 8. So it is going to tell about how many number of signals, real time signals that can be sent by a process. So what is the minimum value? 8. Next, POSIX signal queue max. So signals also maintained in a queue. So maximum number of real time signals that a process may queue at any time. A process can also store all the signals in a queue, right? It is going to tell about the maximum number of real time signals that a process can queue at any time. So minimum value is what? 32. Minimum value is 32. Hope you are understanding. Next, POSIX NSEMS max. So it is going to tell about the maximum number of semaphores that may be used simultaneously per process. So if you want to know more about the semaphores, the link is in the description. So and also along with that, I am going to explain about the semaphores in the upcoming videos. So far you should understand about only the number of semaphores that may be used simultaneously per process. So minimum value is 256. Hope you are understanding. Next, POSIX semaphore value max. Maximum value that may be assigned to a semaphore. What is the minimum value here? 32,767 is the minimum value that is supported. Hope you are understanding, right guys? If you want to know more about the semaphore, the link is in the description. So far you have understood about the limits that can be used in your system. If you want to set that limits, how we are going to set it? You can use these functions sysconf, pathconf, fpathconf functions to set the limits. Now you know the limit values, right? So how to set or how to identify that limit values that are supported in my system? How are we going to do that? By using these prototypes or functions. So what are those functions? Sysconf, pathconf, fpathconf. All these functions are defined in unistd.h, that is unistd header. You can see that sysconf, again limit name I can use, pathconf I can use a limit name. Hope you're understanding. I can specify the limits using this functions or prototypes. Sysconf, pathconf, fpathconf. Next, what sysconf does? The sysconf function provides a method for the application to determine the current value of a configurable system limit or option. In simple words, sysconf provides you to determine the value of a limit. You can determine the value of the limit what you have set. For example, for a job control you can set some values. For creating a process, for opening a file, you can create your own maximum values, right? That's why it's configurable. You can check that whether you can check the limit value, what is the limit you have specified. That's why it is a configurable limit. Minimum value you understood, maximum you can set, right? Maximum value you can set, that's why it's configurable. You can configure it. If you want to configure, you should know that what is the value, right? So how to do that means using this using this function you can do that. You can check what are the limits that are defined for your system. See, so the limit name argument value is a constant as defined in the unistd.h header, and the possible values and the corresponding data returned by the sysconf function are, for example, see, once again, see. So sysconf contains the limit name. Hope you are understanding, right? So the limit name argument value is what? It is a constant defined in the unistd.h header. The possible values, right? If you want to know these values, you can use this sysconf limit values. So what is the first limit value? SC means what? System sysconf. SC is nothing but a sysconf argmax. It is going to tell about the, so it is going to return the data of maximum size of argument values in bytes that may be passed to an execute function. So it is going to tell about the maximum size of argument in bytes. Hope you understand. Child max, maximum number of child process that may be owned by a process simultaneously. It is going to tell, right? It is going to return that value. Hope you understanding. If you want to know how many number of child process are owned by a process, what you have to do? Just use this. Just use this limit value. That for example, if 10 child process are there, it will return the value as 10. 10 child process can be owned by a process simultaneously. If you define that as a limit, you can define maximum values, right? 10, 12 like that. So if you want to know that value, you can use this child max. Hope you are understanding. To know your limit values, you are using this function sysconf. So this limit value is going to tell about the different limits that are specified in your system. Next, SC open max. Again, it is going to tell about the maximum number of files can be opened by a process. If you want to know what is the constant that is defined in your system. For example, okay, I can define 10, like I can define like 10 files, or I can define like 20 files. You know that it's configurable. It is configurable. Minimum values, you know. In the same way, you can specify my own configurable values. So if you want to know how many files can be opened, you can use this limit value, and that particular value will be returned to you. It will be displayed to you. Suppose my maximum value is 10, 10 will be displayed. Suppose my maximum value is 20, 20 will be displayed. 10, if it's 10 means 10 files can be opened per process. If it's 20 means 20 files can be opened per process. Hope you're understanding, guys. In the same way, these are all the different limit values. Suppose FE, SC, NG groups means it is going to tell about the maximum number of supplemental groups per process. I told you, process can be there in different groups. If you want to know how many groups are maximum number of groups that a process can be there means, you can use this. It will tell. Alright, so clock tick, the number of clock ticks per second. If you want to know the number of clock ticks per second, you can just use this constant value within the limit value within the function. Next, job control, the POSIX job control value, it will tell about the job control values. It is again saved IDs, it's going to tell about the saved IDs values. Version, it is going to tell about the POSIX version value. Timers, the POSIX, how many timers, I told you minimum 32 timers are there. So it's going to tell about how many number of timers that are supported in your system. Next, again the same time, in the same way, right? Message queues, for example, delay timers maximum number of overruns allowed per timer. In the same way, RTSIG maximum number of real-time signals, right? If you can know the maximum numbers that are defined in your system. If you want to know about the values, just use these limits in your function, and the particular values will be displayed. You can know what are the values that are defined. In the same way, message queue, open maximum number of message queues per process. Priority, MQ prio max, that is maximum number of priority value assignable to message. For example, priority value can be assigned from 1 to 10, like that. I can specify like that. If you want to know what is the priority, whether it is from 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, you can use this. You can use this and you can know that. So right, maximum number of semaphores per process, maximum value assignable to by semaphore. So these are all the, again, maximum number of operations in one list IO, number of simultaneous asynchronous IO. So we already discussed this, right? All these limits in POSIX 1 and POSIX 1.b. So if you want to know these values, you can just use these limits in your prototypes. Syscon, if you want to know this value, you can use this limit name in your sysconf function. SC means what? Sysconf, system configuration. Next, fpathconf, pathconf. So what it does? Sysconf, you know that, right? In the same way, fpathconf and pathconf functions shall determine the current value of a configurable limit associated with a file or a directory. So what is the difference here? What is the difference here? System. So sysconf is going to tell about the limits that are assigned to a system. Here pathconf or fpathconf is going to tell about the limits that is assigned to a file or a directory. Hope you are understanding. Sysconf is purely related to system. Pathconf and fpathconf is purely related to file and a directory. Right? Now we will see that limit values for fpathconf and pathconf. So these are the values for right. So here see. So I already told you all constant used as a sysconf argument value have the SC prefix. So if you have a SC prefix, you can you can know that it is a sysconf argument. Similarly, the f limit name argument value is manifested constant. In the same way, see here, see f limit name is there, right? So this is for pathconf. In the same way, you can see there for fpathconf also you are using a f limit name. right? So if you are using a f limit name argument value, the PC prefix will be there for fpathconf and pathconf. Hope you are understanding. For sysconf, sc prefix will be there. For pathconf and fpathconf, PC prefix will be there. Right? Hope you are understanding, guys. So what are those? PC ch1 restricted. If you want to know the value that is defined for POSIX ch1 restricted, you can use this limit value. So ch1 restricted, what it does, right? It is going to tell about the number of owners that are assigned to a particular file. So if you want to know that value, you can use this. So PC no trunc returns the POSIX no trunc value. For example, if you want to know how many characters I can remove from my path name, you can use this limit value. It will tell that the particular value. For example, if it is 10 characters can be removed from my path name. If it is 5 characters can be removed from my path name, like that. If you want to know about the vdisable, it is going to return about the POSIX vdisable value. You can know that how many number of characters are disabled, right? Special characters. So I told you, right? Suppose if you press shift plus bracket, flower brackets will be displayed. Only if you press a bracket button, angular brackets will be displayed, right? So you can disable that special effect. So if you want to know how many special effects are disabled, so you can use this vdisable limit value. In the same way, you can use path max, name max, maximum length of a path name. If you want to know how many characters are allowed in a path name, just use this limit. So it will display that maximum. For example, if it's 20 characters are allowed in a path name. If you want to know what is the particular value that is defined, you can just use this limit value in your prototype fpathconf, right? It will just display that particular value. In the same way, name max, you can come to know about the maximum number of characters that are supported in a file name. In the same way, maximum number of links that my file may have. In the same way, maximum size of block of data that can be read to or a read from and a write to a particular pipe. Read from a pipe and a write to a pipe. So what is the maximum value? For example, I may define size of block of data to as a 1 MB. So that is 1 MB can be read from a pipe, and 1 MB can be written to a pipe, like that. I can define my value, maximum value. If you want to know that value, you can use that, just right. PC max canon, max input, so like that. If you want to know any value that is right, maximum, if you want to know the values that are defined for this particular macros, right, you can use this limit values, right, guys. See, this is just an example. These variables may be used at compile time. For example, see, POSIX path max, I can use like this. It is going to tell about the, right, it is going to display the value, how many maximum characters that are supported in a path name. That value will be displayed here. You can use that. In the same way, open max, how many files can be opened simultaneously, maximum. If you use this, it will display that maximum number of files. For example, if it's a 15, it will display it as 15, like that. Again, after that, it will close all the file descriptors. Descriptors means it's going to like an address for that particular file. Descriptors are like address for that particular file. I can identify the file, individual files using a descriptors, right? You will come to know more about file descriptors in the upcoming videos. So this is the program. It's going to tell about, it's going to explain about sysconf and pathconf and fpathconf functions, right? For example, see, you know that all this POSIX source, POSIX C source 199309L, these are about the what type of standard POSIX standard you are using for your program. So IO stream, why you used means you used cout output stream, that's why the header file is IO stream.h header. All these constants or limits are defined in the unistd.h header, that's why you are using a unistd.h header. The execution starts from the main here. You can see here I am declaring a variable called result here, res. If result is equal to sysconf sc open max is equal to -1, error. So your maximum open max file open max value, how many maximum number of files that will be opened simultaneously, that value will be stored in the result. If it is -1, obviously it's a error, otherwise it will print the maximum value. It will print the maximum value. That means if it is 10 files can be opened simultaneously, like that. It will define the maximum value that is defined in the system. So where it is stored, that maximum value result, that's why it is going to take that value that is stored in the result and it is going to display it. Hope you are understanding. In the same way for other right limits also I can use, like for example path max. It is going to display the path max, right? Hope you are understanding. Why I am using a slash? So slash in a path I have to use a slash for different to separate the directories, right? That's why I am using a slash there, right? For different limits you can use variables and you can display that, right guys? So hope you are understanding the concepts. Suppose if you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section, right guys? Thank you for watching the video.